Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, Section 8, topic is ignorance. Not a joke, it's real. Ignorance compared to a creeper. Avidya, translated into English, is ignorance. Avidya is intensified through the lack of knowledge and thus bears the fruit of delusion. But with increasing knowledge, avidya diminishes, allowing the self to be revealed through the 7 steps of wisdom. And then, with the perfect revelation of the self, avidya ceases to exist. This point is the central theme of Yoga Vasistha. And in fact, all religions, that's the goal of life, to be free of avidya, ignorance, and to have self-realization. The same terms people may not use in all religions, but that's the central purpose. There are 2 aspects of ignorance, avidya and vidya. Both are developed by the method of gada parinyaya, hammering. One type of hammering is very simple, which is just when you are childish and you don't need to think of what your purpose is in life, then what are you hammering on your mind? The daily news. If news you are not satisfied, gossips. If that doesn't satisfy you, what cooking in others' houses? Describing of this a joking way. But it is a simple fact. But count all the people in the world, vast majority, where they are feeding on from morning till night. All about how things are happening here, there. If you are content with your village or with your city, you want to know what's going on in Alaska. And if you are content with that, you want to know what's going on in Mars. Extension before your mind is so vast. And from anywhere, there may be a source of causing in your mind something negative, depressing. So, unawares, unwittingly, your mind is getting the hammering that strengthens ignorance. People are not interested in knowing what the purpose of life. Where is the goal of life? But all they are interested in is how to have pleasure and how to live their days without boredom. But in order to cut down boredom, they adopt things that are dum-dum. So that's called Abhyasa. Two things are important to understand, Abhyasa and vairagya. If you are being led by avidya, ignorance, without thinking about your purpose of life, the meaning behind how can you live your life, progressing towards the attainment of goal, how to lift yourself out of a sinking process. Instead of doing that, you continue to stay in the negative process. And people don't mind that. That's why they want to live there. And when they meet each other, oh, bless you, live for 100 years. But never comes into the mind, live to realize the purpose. Be successful in a real way. Be happy. That is your, and philosophically speaking, sabko sanamati de Bhagavan. May you be endowed with that intellect that will allow you to attain liberation. That's the highest blessing for yourself or everybody else. Now, what I was trying to say in a subtle way to understand, that this is a path of ignorance, path of avidya, which practices, which highlight two things, Abhyasa and vairagya. But Abhyasa in this side, in the negative movement, is constantly hammering the negative in your mind. And vairagya, if anybody brings some good news, something uplifting, you detach yourself from it. So that type of vairagya is practiced. Good news, welcome. Good news means worldly news, news that enhances worldly pleasure. But anything that is brought to you that will enhance your spiritual movement, a deeper delight, a real happiness, one doesn't want to hear it. And that's the predicament of masses, the predicament of people who don't do sadhana. Your mind is trapped by constant worry and anxiety. As well as, even without what you think as a very joyous mind, is not a real joy. Your joy is a snake is on your neck going to bite your nose. I would say, how cool. Never felt such wonderful touch. Joke. So that's how ignorance intensifies, by hammering process. Now same, reverse it. Abhyasa turn your mind to spiritual teachings and allow your daily life to follow integral yoga, a blend of all the four aspects: karma, bhakti, dhyana, jnana. Anything that allows you to practice this again and again, that's called Abhyasa. All that obstructs this movement, you detach from it. That's your vairagya. Abhyasa and vairagya, that you know in a more general way, is always refers to your positive practice. But for deeper understanding, you must realize unwittingly you are using the same methods for intensifying and strengthening the lower self. So therefore, subtle change has to occur, and it is to be it is progressive. Cannot suddenly move away from your old habit of repeating the negative. You can gradually cut down that. Similarly, suddenly you cannot come to a positive development. You do all the mantras and you didn't get the benefit you wanted. You meditated for 3 hours and all that you got is a headache. So therefore, what's needed is sustained, persistent practice. Not too much, not too little, but in a harmonious way. And so practice Abhyasa and vairagya. Not to go back to the same old pattern that degraded you. Learn lessons. Things that bring you downwards, degrades. Don't go on holding on to them. And don't wait until you are degraded by something in order to develop vairagya towards it. Be wise. Avoid foxes and snakes. And Abhyasa and vairagya are to be directed towards 7 steps of wisdom, which you have heard many times, and I'm never tired of it. So Shubhecha, aspiration. Allow your whole mental set like a big hall, always locked up and cluttered with so many nasty things. Maybe good things as well, many things are there, but all shut up. Now, Shubhecha, as if opened a window. Now you begin to let in oxygen, let in light, and you develop a different understanding. What's the ultimate goal? What can be the climax of joy? In other words, Shubhecha is the beginning stage of aspiration. If you study Vedanta, then it requires you to know you should be a qualified aspirant. And qualification depends upon 4 great points: Vivek, discriminative knowledge; vairagya, dispassion; shat sampat, serenity; shama, control of senses; surrender to God. All these many points are mixed together. And the 4th point, burning aspiration for God realization. If these points are coming while describing in in a mathematical way, you put so many things at once. But you are practicing it, you practice progressively. But those points have to be understood. Those are the things that will make you qualified to have perfect vairagya, not to turn to the world, not to be born again, to have perfect viveka, that all this is Brahman. Understand the difference between self and not self. Then understand the role of qualities that you must develop. And deep down, finally, if you forget everything else, as thirst for attaining liberation. Not false thirst. So if you are securing this, you may not have secured it all, then you will be perfect. The moment you begin to highlight these in your life, you have developed Shubhecha, first step. Second step, vicharana. Now in daily life, you just don't go through your pleasure and pain, but you try to learn from it what's it all about. Where is the source of cutting down all misery? And is it possible? And so forth. But under the guidance and along with your daily sadhana. And Shubhecha Vicharana leads you Tanu Manasi. Things that you fight against for attaining spiritual progress, they begin to thin out. You don't want to be angry. You learn that lesson. If you don't learn, then there is, of course, there's no problem. You go on raging your rage. But when you learn that, now even minor stage of your anger, you recognize it. And you want to sublimate it. So, when you come to that state that your impurities have been reduced to a small, minor stage, that's called Tanu Manasi. Now you don't fall for it, but still you are not fulfilled. You want to go and root out that negative movement of your mind. And that state of mind is called Tanu Manasi. Then comes Sattvapatti. Now, a clear glimpse of the goal enters your personality. Clear glimpse. This time you don't have to see it and then forget it. The type of glimpse that you now, it's permanent. You have not attained it, but it is a permanent view of the goal. Once you have attained that level, all spiritual gurus have relief beyond belief, because you have no other choice. You are bound to attain the heights. So that state itself is termed as Jivan Mukti. The moment you have come to that state, you are a Jivan Mukta. But Jivan Muktas are in different levels. Those levels are for theoretical study. For your goal, just be Jivan Mukta. All are satisfied. All other stages, they will automatically follow. And so after Sattvapatti comes Asam Sakti. You live in the world, but the world doesn't touch you. You are untainted by the world. Your relation with the world becomes like the sky's relation with clouds. And that's not an easy state, you must realize. And next step is Padarthabhavana. The Asam Sakti is compared to dream state. But not ordinary dream, a dream in which you know you are dreaming. So if you are eating cream in your dream, you continue. But you know you are dreaming. Your cream vessel, your spoon, all will vanish. And you will simply smile because all is a dream. So that type of state is Asam Sakti. But Padartha Bhavana, even that state vanishes. Absolute silence dominates your personality. Now, that doesn't mean that a sage who has come to that state will be ineffective in dealing with people. No, he will be more inspired, like Shankaracharya. People will see him constantly busy. But at the same time, the world is not there. Brahman alone exists. Even in his busy moment, all that he is shouting, Brahman alone is real. I'm joking, but trying to make you understand that deeper movement does not interfere with your practical reality. What interferes with practical reality is your karma. If your karma is over for your body, then you pass on, whether you have attained any step or not. And if you have attained a higher step and you pass on at vicharana level or tanumanasi level, you'll be born in a better family where you will not lose what you have gained, but you go further. All these are simple points. After this Padartha Bhavana, which is like deep sleep, now you come to a state, even this attainment is no longer describable in the terms of waking, dream and sleep. There is no description now. Brahman cannot be described. That's called Turiya, the fourth. Fourth, when you count it, A, U, M, and the fourth, transcendent. But this is the seventh, where Turiya state is reached. So Shubhecha, Vicharana, Tanumanasi, Sattvapatti, Asam Sakti, Padartha Bhavana, and Turiya. These seven are very profound topics. In all Hindu culture, sacraments, you hear the importance of seven. You go around fire 7 times. 7 steps. And of course, the very calendar reminds you, 7 days. At times, this creeper of ignorance is torn from its support, the objects of the world, by the mighty elephant of enquiry. Now, what's being told is how to remove your ignorance. Ignorance is going to be more elaborated in the form of as a creeper. Creeper that holds all complex karmas, troubles, all miseries, as well as ignorance that gives passage. As I have explained, vidya and avidya. Ignorance. In the realm of ignorance, you have the possibility to go deeper and deeper into ignorance, or you have also the possibility to come out of ignorance to light. That movement away from ignorance is in the realm of Maya. So instead of using the word ignorance, call Maya for better understanding. Maya with two aspects: ignorance and knowledge. Vidya, avidya and vidya. So vidya movement is being described. It's led by enquiry, means vichar. Then separated from the muddy soul, rather muddy soil of subtle desires, this creeper begins to wither and die. The creeper of ignorance that creates bondage with the world process. That creeper begins to die if you use enquiry movement, vichar movement. However, when the creeper escapes the clutches of the elephant of enquiry, it joins itself to its support. In other words, ignorance becomes more strengthened and begins to flourish all over again. Remember, O Rama, it is vichar that destroys the vitals of this creeper. Even as a tree is destroyed by white ants, the strength of the world that dominates your mind, that strength comes due to ignorance. But vichar that awakens you to understand you are not the body, not the mind. You are Brahman, the Absolute, essentially. But even if you don't have come to that highest level, you must adopt the understanding that you are linked to your source is Satchidananda. Therefore, all that you think of divine is essential nature in you. You don't have to create them. It's a matter of unveiling yourself. Positive will shine forth automatically. All the negative that you have, they are illusory. However, due to ignorance, your negative seems to become very strong and very real. But the fact is, they are not real. Your anger, your hate, your pride, your egoism, all these are not real. But virtuous qualities, the ability to forgive, the ability to be peaceful, the ability to have devotion to God, the ability to follow the movement of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti, that's innate nature. It will automatically begin to progress if you continue your sadhana in a right way. O Rama, the numerous stars that shine in the sky are like flowers in the creeper of ignorance. This is a description of vikshepa. Led by ignorance, your mind has forgotten the role of sun and moon. You look at the sky. This is not a science. All that you see, if there is no sun, no moon, countless stars, of course. Thank God in Miami you don't see anything. But there are so many places where the sky opens up with countless stars. And those stars play the role of twinkle, twinkle, little star. They are as transient as your twinkling eyes, allegorically. So, when creeper of ignorance develops, you have before you all these countless stars to go up. There is no end to your distraction. And nothing satisfies you. This entire world process is perceived due to ignorance alone. The world process is Vishaya Jagat, the world where you are led by sense pleasure, mundane pleasure. Eat, drink, be merry. And living only for that pleasure is lack of enquiry. But it is enriching for your ignorance. Shaken by the elephant of the chitta, entwined by the snakes of desires, enwrapped by the skin of craving, this creeper enfolds within itself this entire universe. Highly allegorical description. Your chitta, mind stuff, that sustains afflictions, kleshas. And how does it, in one word, the chitta that is dominated by avidya. That chitta is like an elephant. And that elephant is as if dealing with a creeper. Of course, you can understand a wild elephant, and that elephant is also described entwined by the snakes of desires. Elephant is already powerful, and now snakes all around him, biting him. Enwrapped by the skin of craving, that creeper is being shaken by this type of elephant. And that creeper enfolds within itself the entire universe, consisting of oceans, mountains, planets, and stars. Further, it sustains the heavenly worlds that are gained by virtuous actions, as well as the hellish worlds that are experienced as a result of sinful actions. For profound understanding, it relates to three lokas. When we talk of world process, and the ignorance envelops all the three lokas, turns you into a loco. Loco means mad. And that is an important point that people misunderstanding. These lokas are not physical realities that scripture describes. Every day, first to understand, three lokas are blended in your personality. Your physical world that you experience, the realistic world, and how you act, that is your physical loka, called Bhur Lok. But how you feel, what your sentiments, and what are the expectations in your heart, that's your Bhur Loka. And how do you understand? What are the thoughts of your mind? That's Swarloka. All the three lokas, they are the world for you. What else can you experience? All that you see can be possible only on the basis of what type of eyes do you have. All that you experience will be possible how your nature has presented the three lokas. In other words, you do not set the world right in order to be bright. You have to set yourself right. Because the world that you want to change, that world emanates from you, and you are the basis. These three lokas, they are constantly in a state of modification. It can develop a hellish modification. It can be developed heavenly modification. And these lokas are constantly changing. When you offer prayers to God, and certain degree of purity enters your heart, three lokas change. Your practical world doesn't give you that garlic smell that you used to have before. Your physical world becomes a source of inspiration. I'm making it slow because it doesn't happen so suddenly, progressively. So your loka is changing. Once you have developed a different understanding of the role of human beings and how to understand them, they are all souls in a state of sickness. They are not meant to be hated and crushed and tortured. So that type of vision begins to develop. If it develops, your Bhur Loka is going through turmoil, changes. And along with it, your Bhur Loka, your feelings go on changing. Your understanding goes on changing. Every day you encounter changes in the three lokas in different ways. They are never static. But your project is to allow the three lokas, firstly, to come in the light of a spiritual goal. How the physical world can inspire you, how your sentiments should inspire you, how your understanding should inspire you. All the three inspiring you for what? To attain God realization. I've said it quickly, but there are progressive movements. Every loka can become a basis for inspiration, your upliftment. Or, if you are dull wit, then every loka is leading you to be more and more loco, more and more mad. When you go to deep sleep, there is a little rehearsal of going beyond lokas. But the real transcendence of the lokas means you need to attain enlightenment. Therefore, sannyasis take the vrata in which their mantra is bhuva sannyastam maya, bhuva sannyastam maya, swaha sannyastam maya. I have renounced these three lokas. The creeper of ignorance has encountered many a birth and death. It is born, it is growing, it is dying, it is half destroyed, and it is fully destroyed. So as your three lokas go on changing, the very creeper of this whole ignorance, for some people it is getting more extended. For some it has been cut a little. For some it is being cut only to make it more strong. Pruning. To some it has been rendered unnourished. The whole creeper has been drying. To some, even this dry creeper doesn't exist. All this requires very intelligent understanding. So liberation is something that is not something that is going to happen. It is here and now. Here and now, at this very moment, people are in different levels. There are sages who are completely out of it. For them, ignorance doesn't exist. There are advanced aspirants. They don't have the lower lokas. They are living in higher lokas. And so forth. All stages of ignorance exist at the same time. It was in the past. It exists in the present and will continue to exist for the unenlightened. It is in the process of destruction for a spiritual aspirant who is practicing inquiry and meditation on Brahman. For ignorant people, ignorance is this tree of ignorance, the creeper of ignorance is beginningless and as if endless. But for a spiritual aspirant, there is a process of destruction. But it is completely non-existent for one who has attained the intuitional wisdom of the self. The poison oozing out of this creeper puts the jiva into a swoon. He experiences a long dream of the world process. Allegorical description. The world, it is for the ignorant, world means to have objects of pleasure. And objects of pleasure are called vishaya. Vishaya vastu. The world, it says, is vishaya jagat. Why vishaya? It begins with vish. Vish means poison. All pleasures led by ignorance, through your senses, through your mind, through your intellect, all worldly pleasure. It's called vishaya, vishaya sukha, the joy of mundane pleasure. And it is vish, poison. Because ordinary poison kills you. This poison goes on killing you, birth after birth. The word vishaya is important to understand. Vish is poison. Ya is your heart. In your heart you have permitted ignorance. And that is as if you have permitted poison. It is ignorance that has assumed numerous forms. It is the earth, the sun, the moon, the twinkling stars. All this seems to such big dimension of the world process. But just like I have explained already, the lokas, all this depends upon your angle. Same world, the sun shining, can make you go into ecstasy. Light of lights, it points. But the same rising sun, to another mind, what a miserable thing. I wanted to retire this day. So for him, that sun has no value. So all this, the world, extensive world that comes in your view, and if you go on wandering in that extensive world, that's the role of ignorance. When ignorance is completely moved away, you don't have all this world. You are the only one. Not alone. For eternal loneliness. That you are the only truth, the absolute self. For easy understanding, think of the sun, countless suns reflecting in so many jars, countless illuminations. And yet the reality is there is only one sun. So that is what everyone is essentially. And when you have come to that realization, no lokas, all the pots and all the illuminations, all that have no meaning at all. It flies in the birds, first describing the static objects of the world. Now the poetic language goes into description of flying birds, etc. They are all in the realm of ignorance. In other words, how you experience them, that's in the realm of ignorance. All that you experience is in the realm of your brain, with some nerves doing strange things. Nerve titillations. It flies in the birds, shines in the gods, it stands still in the mountains, shines in the gods. That I've explained many times, but you have to go on understanding. Your relation with gods, again, depends upon your different levels. When you are worshipping a particular god only for having a good harvesting in your farm, or some success in business, or some egoistic gain, that God and your role in it both are in the realm of ignorance. Because that God is not the reality. Sagun Sakar, I have explained, when you turn to God, first comes Sagun Sakar. But it is symbolic to help you. God, the absolute God is absolute reality. But how you are being led to God, what you think God, is not the God. So if you have received boon from a God to be long life, to live long life, to be prosperous, that God himself plays the role of being mortal. And all that you are doing, of course, are transient. In other words, not only ordinary gods, even the concept of it exists as Brahma the creator, Vishnu the sustainer, Shiva the destroyer. When your mind is thinking of God in these terms, first point to understand, practical point of view, it's perfectly commendable to turn to God in any aspect. But at the same time, must know that while turning to God, you are using many mental concepts. Those concepts are going to change. Same Sagun Sakar that you viewed is in a particular temple, and you have to always make a big trip to have the darshan of that Sagun Sakar. Go a little higher, you understand, it's not just in the temple, you can go anywhere. Go still higher, that God is right in your own heart. But what happened? Has he become shrunk to stay in your heart? I'm joking. In other words, he has no form. Your thoughts and feelings don't have any form. God is that subtle. And that the God is not whatever your mind can picture through the best of its intellect. The God is beyond your mind. So therefore, the description that Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all these are in the realm of Maya. The absolute reality is Brahman alone. O Rama, endeavor to destroy this creeper by the knowledge of the self. And with this, I will recite a Upanishadic peace chant to give you a special, the same understanding in a profound way. Om aham vrikshasya reriva kirtihe prishtham gireriva urdhva pavitro vajaniva swamritam asmi dharvinam savarchasam sumedha amritokshita iti trishankor vedanuvachanam. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. I am the uprooter of the world tree. This is the ideal of an aspirant to come to that level. My glory is above the mountain top. My wisdom is like the effulgent sun that shines above the heavens. I am the very embodiment of nectar. My wealth is a shining treasure. My intellect has been purified by the waters of immortality. Thus did sage Trishanku declare, based on his spiritual experience, may there be peace, peace, peace. Om Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om. Prayer for the shower of Karunamaya Ras of God, God's grace over all, and may everyone be endowed with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. ओम त्र्यंबकम यजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वारुकमिव बंधनान् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्यमामृतात्। हम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम।